a minute, baby. Wait a minute, where you going?
I'm going around the corner.
What you going around there for?
I'm going around the corner where they're honking at.
What time to start honking?
They start at midnight. Good times roll.
Wait a minute, baby. I think I feel it.
What?
I think I feel it.
It's about to hit me, too.
Blow your horn! Honk it, honk it! I say honk it!
I want to honk some too this morning.
And I was Bill Doggett, Honky Tonk Part 2, and this is Honky Tonk Part The End. Before that was Frank Motley, Honkin' at Midnight, which was one of the records I would have liked to get for Oval Records, but never could find who had the rights to it. Came out in America on DC Records in Washington. So you're listening to Honky Tonk on Radio London, 206 on the medium wave and 94.9 VHF. Thanks again to Norman the Mosquito for all those kind introductions he always gave us. I could never do the same for him, but he does have one of the best sports programs in the land. He is a group who introduced me to the whole live music thing back in 72 when I started Honky Tonk off. As I think I said to Stu Coleman last week, I was mainly interested in playing records. I didn't think about live music. And then somebody sent me a little tape. The group was called Bees Make Honey, and the song was called Knee Trembler, and he even had a line in the middle about playing records on the radio at noon or something. Anyway, very clearly about Honky Tonk. Actually, that song was never as good as some of their others, so I'm going to play off their first LP, only LP for EMI, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky chicken fried. Soon as you hear the little whippoorwill cry, when the sun gone down and the moon real high, there'll be shit you can pick until the liquor run dry. Well, I got on my jeans and a beat-up shirt, another 40-hour week of worthless work. I'm gonna pick up my booze at the liquor mart. We're gonna make it on out to the national park. Got my bedroom sheets with a pond at the top. Got 2 yards of twine with a real good knot. When the whistle says move, you move your ass. We're gonna go hunting for this night's best. Kentucky chicken fried. Soon as you hear the little whippoorwill cry, when the sun gone down and the moon real high, there'll be shit kicking, picking till the liquor run dry. Kentucky chicken fried. Soon as you hear the little whippoorwill cry, when the sun gone down and the moon real high, there'll be shit kicking, picking till the liquor run dry. Billie Jean's the queen in our town this year. She got big blue eyes and real blonde hair. Man, she got real class, like she too good to touch. But the folks say she don't sleep alone too much. Our town had fun last Friday week. I cut the long hair, hit the kippin' way back east. I couldn't tell what they said, so I smashed the thing. He tried to reason with me while I'm having a drink. Kentucky chicken fried. Soon as you hear the little whippoorwill cry, when the sun gone down and the moon real high, them shit kicking, picking till the liquor run dry. Yeah.
well, I could have got the title right. Kentucky Chicken Fry, it is, by Bees Make Honey, from their EMI-LP Music Every Night, which I expect is now a collector's item, knowing the way record companies operate. Anyway, today's Honky Tonk is dedicated to all those bands who entertain us nightly in London, playing live, and anybody who isn't involved in it would never have any idea how hard it is for those bands to get together, get the PAs, and do it all for the £30 they get paid for by most of the pubs they play in. It's also to the people who have sent in tapes and one way or another been connected to, the program's been connected to helping them get off the ground. Chaz and Dave were actually well off the ground before we ever heard of them. They'd made one LP for an obscure American company, another for an equally obscure English company. The LP was called One Thing and Another, and Terry Adams introduced it to me, a taxi driver who just brought it round one day and said, "I think you should hear this, Charlie," and he was absolutely right. And so we had him come in the show and play live. So I'm now going to play 2 songs from that live session, which I think sounds like the good fun it was at the time. Chaz and Dave, Big Blonde Baby.
Waiting on the corner like an old tomcat, shouting and a shaking over stuff in my back. Who walks by? Me, oh my. Jump in your horse, a fat, big blonde baby. Yes, indeed, she clapped me, she was so divine. Fell right down and begged that she be mine, oh mine. Held her tight, good night. Jump in your horse, a fat, big blonde baby. Big blonde baby. Oh, glory be. Big blonde baby. Now I know it's got to be. Well, a shiver and a quiver when she kisses me. Preacher tell him hollering, gosh, oh gee. Loves her man like no one can. Jump in your horse, a fat, big blonde baby. When she kisses me, Peter tell him hollering, gosh, oh gee. Loves her man like no one can. Jump in your horse, a fat, big blonde baby. Oh, what an end.
I like to finish. Okay, very good. Big Blonde Baby. Well, when I first called Chaz and Dave in, I was... actually, there's Mick as well. I should mention Chaz and Dave and Mick. Is that what it is?
Mickey Burt, yeah.
Mickey Burt as well. I was thinking on the basis of your album, which has got all original numbers, and they come in here, they want to play rock and roll. But nevertheless, you could do one of your own, right?
What's wrong with rock and roll, then? Yeah. This is a title track of our album, Charlie. One Thing and Another.
Original Cockney tune, this one. I got home the other night and what did I discover? The law's been around again to see me little brother. Big sister's gone and got in trouble with a lover. I've had a bleed enough of it with one thing and another. I should have listened to me dear old mother. She was a good old girl, go love her. Find a wife and settle down, she'd say. But brother, you know how it is, what we're one thing and another. Hey. Wash and shave and I went round for Tommy Glover to ask him if he fancied a cricket down the plumber. He come to the door and said me missus might discover. You know how it is, Jack, with one thing and another. I'm carrying the can, cause me old man ain't bothered a damn. I get treated like a cow's son's mutt, but let me tell you, squire, I might end up in the fire if I ever get out with this man. I roll myself a fag and make an effort to recover, but I lost me tin, I
back up and I can't afford another. Now some monkeys in the yard have started fighting with each other. I've had a bleeding enough of it with one thing and another. Cause me old man ain't bothered a damn. I get treated like a cow's son's mutt, but let me tell you, squire, I might end up in the fire if I ever get out this man. I got home the other night and what did I discover? The lawyer's been around again to see me little brother. Big sister's gone and got in trouble with her lover. I've had a bleeding enough of it with one thing alone. I've had a bleeding enough of it with one thing and another. Hey!
And I was live in the studio. I think we had 4 mics on that. One on the drums, Mickey Burt, one on Dave's bass amp, one on the piano, and one for the vocals. And Dave was kind of leaning towards Chaz, who was doing the main vocal. Good old Cosmo Matassa style stuff, live on the air. And thanks to Eric Robbie for helping to get the sound on that. They all did it pretty fast and seemed easy at the time, but actually it's quite hard. Big Blonde Baby, One Thing and Another, Chaz and Dave. And if you haven't already got their Rockney LP, get it. The second side especially is really good. And I can see that one making the charts when people finally get to grips with it. And I think Massage Parlour is going to be a 45 any day now. Right, well, although I've said I was going to play mainly tapes and everything, there were 1 or 2 records that the show had a special kind of connection to. One of which was Jonah Louie's The Swan, which we played over and over, and people said they could never get hold of it. In effect, it was more like a tape than a record when it comes down to it. And we'll dedicate this to some of our long-distance listeners. Dave Greatrix in Cotmanhay, Derbyshire, Kerry Hammer in Middlesbrough, Jill and Hillary in Newcastle-under-Lyme. Jonah Louie, The Swan.
Thought you were a real good chap. Come on, take my hand, let's do the swan. Now the band begin to play, get off your bale of hay. Come on, please take my hand, let's do the swan. Clap your hand as you go all the band, the guitar clicking, Papa Jake, the finger licking. Take my hand, let's do the swan. Through the crowd it was dawn, as the night that it had grown. Please do the swan. Oh, well, clap your hand as you go.
Jonah Louie now as Stiff Records, and maybe Stiff could license that and Piggyback Sue and Cherry Ring and something else, put out an EP by Jonah Louie from his Sonnet days. You're listening to the last Honky Tonk on Radio London. Nick Taratsu and Maggie O'Brien are here on the phones, 486-7744, to take any messages, gigs, whatever else you want to tell us about. All right, well, we're jumping around a bit as we're going to be doing today. And Anthony Wall, one of our listeners, did a trip to America a year or two back when he found a country blues singer called variously Junior Kimball or Junior Kimborough. His wife, the lady he lives with, claims that his name is Kimborough. Records that he's put out before are Kimball. In any case, he sounds, if I get the right tape going, I think he sounds like this. Yes, he does.
Yes, folks, listen to Honky Tonk. It's got the right Charlie.
Yes, folks. Dream girl, can't wait to close up my eyes. 'Cause when I do, you're just standing there. I touch your hair and gaze into your eyes. Dream girl, I hate when I see the light. 'Cause when I do, it just means
that it's dawn and you'll be gone until another night. Won't you be my dream girl? Make my life a delight. Now when I go to sleep, I put my head on my pillow and try to drift away. But whenever it seems I'm right on the beam, you're creeping right into my every dream. Oh, dream girl, I know I'm not very smart, but there is one thing I can't conceal. My love is real. You're breaking up my heart. Won't you be my dream girl? I've loved you right from the start. Dream girl.
The Darts, and I won't embarrass them by playing what they did next, which was to do an encore number where they had to have several attempts starting before they all hit the same key together. But that was a pretty good version of Dream Girl, and that was in the days before they were in the charts every week. In fact, there was a stage when I used to feel sorry for groups that I liked a lot because it seemed to be the kiss of death as far as commercial success was concerned. But their success and one or two others has kind of reassured me that the things I like can also be liked by the masses and thousands of people. The next one, though, still belongs in the category of the obscure. I'm not sure why, because Rugulator really seemed to have everything they needed. But I don't know, there's something between Danny and the rest of the world that haven't quite come together. They will one of these days, Danny. Meanwhile, here's something we played from some time ago.
Oh, we'd like...
Well, it was evening time when the train came rolling through, and we flagged him down
Well, I'm not sure that he had a better rhythm section than that one. Maybe he did. Anyway, Bobby Irwin on drums and Paul Riley on bass, Nick Plaitus on keyboards, and Danny Adler doing the guitar and the singing, all aboard. And I think that is the same track that eventually came out on a Stiff EP, so you can get that. Well, I suppose the one of the biggest kicks for me through doing the whole of Honky Tonk was one day Dave Robinson came around with a bunch of tapes, which included people like Dux Deluxe and I can't remember who else. And there was one song on it I liked more than all the others, which wasn't by any of the people that I'd ever heard of before. And I just kind of fitted it into the show. And the next day, Nigel Grange, who was at the time A&R man at Phonogram, called me up and said, "Who was that bloke you played sound like Van Morrison? Great, fantastic." And I said, well, I can't remember his name. Well, maybe I did know his name. Anyway, all I knew was to put Nigel in touch with Dave Robinson. And the next thing was Graham Parker was signed up. The rumour had been put together because they weren't actually playing on that first demo. And it's been we've stayed in close contact ever since, as you know. So 2 weeks ago, I played Carleen Carter's version of the song Just Between You and Me. Or actually, it's called Between You and Me without a just in the official title, which threw a couple of people off who thought that maybe I was referring to a Cordettes song. Anyway, 67 of you not only knew that Graham Parker had written and performed the song first, but that it had been recorded at the Hope and Anchor studio, which I thought was a pretty obscure question, but I forgot that they put in the information on the back of the LP sleeve.
All I knew were the lights in the harbor. All I saw were the flash in my head, yeah. And that's all that's left between you and me, oh yeah. Say that's all that's left between you and me. Next thing I knew I was being carried out to sea. Somebody whispering, hey, what is wrong with me? Yeah. And that's all that's left between you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say that's all that's left between you and me. Well, say, did you realize when this split came to be? Yeah, it's always in somebody's eyes when they really don't want to see. Yeah. All I knew was a storm crashing around, wow, 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 wow. Nothing more than silence, not even a sound, yeah. And that's all that's left between you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say that's all that's left between you and me. And that's all that's left between you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say that's all that's left between you and me. Bop, bop, 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 between you and me.
Between You and Me from what is still my favourite Graham Parker LP, Howlin' Wind. And if you haven't got it yet, the number is Vertigo 6360129. Go and get it. But actually, Graham has got a new one coming up, produced by Jack Nickchie, and I heard some of the demos, the rough mixes, I mean. And I think he's actually made a better record than Howlin' Wind, which is great for him, great for me, great for everybody else who likes him. Of the 67 of you who knew that he'd done it first, the three names that came out of the hat and win LPs are Sandy McDiarmid at 5 Escort Drive, High Wycombe, who gets a Raoul Donner LP, Ian Hutchings at 75 Mortimer Road, Hackney, who gets Sniff and the Tears, and Ian White at 48 Rowlands Close in Cheshunt, who gets a Rachel Sweet LP on Stiff. Right, well, here's another one that doesn't quite fit into what we've been doing today, except that, again, Pete Wingfield's always been somebody close to the programme and us close to him, and I was absolutely knocked out that this record did so well.
I'm 18.
So hold it right there, little girl, little girl. We're gonna have big fun.
I may be an oldie, but I'm a goodie too. I'll last forever, and I'll be good to you. Oh, yes, I will.
I'm 18 with a bullet. Got my finger on the trigger. I'm gonna pull it. I'm a super soul sure shot, yeah. I'm a national breakout. So let me check your playlist, mama. Come on, let's make out.
I'm high on the chart, tip for the top. Until I'm in your heart, I ain't never gonna stop. Never, never, baby. If we only stay together, talking about you, talking about me.
I'm 18 with a bullet. Got my finger on the trigger. I'm gonna put it. Yes, I am. Be my A-side, baby. Be beside me. Right now, I'm a single. But pretty soon you'll see we'll have a hit. First time, it won't be long. We'll find that we're raising a whole LP. Woo-hoo. You know I'm 18. Woo-hoo. With the bullet. Yes, I am, baby. I got my finger right there on the trigger. I'm gonna put it, put it, put it.
You better start making plans, baby. This old house is too small now.
Alan Toussaint meets the Spaniels and Pete Wingfield wins. Really good. 18 with a bullet. And he had that song going around as a demo for about, I don't know, at least 18 months, maybe 2 years before it eventually came out. So for those of you who have felt discouraged at your lack of progress, keep your spirits up, because some things do happen. It's just the time when they happen is nothing to do with you, as we've all found out. All right, a couple of people. Ali Prince calls in to say thank you for the last 5 years. And has anybody got a tape of this show? Ali would like one at 733-5869. Tomorrow, please call. And Phil would like one at 845-5592. So if you do that for them, they'd be grateful. So I'll give you the phone numbers again. Ali, tomorrow, 733-5869. And Phil is 845-5592. Which reminds me that Harvey Fuqua wanted a cassette of the program he was on, which was a couple of weeks ago. Anybody who could provide one to Bob Fisher at EMI International, I'm sure Bob would swap you for an album or something like that. Right, well, Pete Wingfield made it. A guy who I've been expecting to make it all the time. A really good singer, good stage presence, put together a couple of good bands, is Lee Cosmin. He's still out there trying, and he's still going to do it one of these days. This was a song I thought would have done something for him. He even recorded it recently for Polydor, but they kept it a well-kept secret. This is, I think, his original demo, certainly an early one from a couple of years ago. Ain't No Way.
Just a little more time before you can agree to be mine. Agree to be mine. Well, how much time, girl, do you need? I can win. Oh, I keep on trying, yes I do. Now you tell me you can't decide. You say you can't decide. All I'm asking you, darling, what you got to hide? But what you got to hide? When you tell me I'm moving too fast, how much longer do you think I can last? There ain't no way that I can win. Can't you see the state I'm in? I said there ain't no way that I can win. If you keep on trying to take me in, you know there ain't no way that I can win. Oh, I keep on trying, yes I do. I can win. Ain't no way that I can win. Ain't no way that I can win. Ain't no way that I can win. No, ain't no way that I can win. Ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way.
Maybe Pete Wingfield could produce a hit by Lee Cosmin. I never thought of that before, but there's definitely something between those two could happen. Right, well, I suppose among the really kind of amazing demos that we've had, Graham Parker, the effect of that and being involved with that has been one of the big things. Another one was when I got a tape of D.P. Costello, who at the time had just made a tape on his own in his bedroom, acoustic guitar and singing. And I think at the time it felt like the most kind of quality thing that had ever come to me in a raw form. And if you hear it now, you'll see why. Oop.
Take off your shoes, hang up your wings, stack up the chairs, roll up the rug, savor the things that sobriety brings, draining the last from a jug. But when I hit the bottle, there's no telling what I'll do. There's something deep inside me wants to turn you black and blue. I can't resist you, I can't wait to twist your loving arms till you capitulate. Beat me in the kitchen and I'll beat you in the hall. There's nothing I love better than a free-for-all. To take your pretty neck and see which way it bends. But when it is all over, we will still be friends. Wave a white flag, put away the pistol. Too many people just can't get kissed. But if there's nothing I can do to make amends, baby, hope you don't murder me. Or was it alright, or was it okay? I'll make it all up to you someday. Oh, but you didn't have to laugh that way. Oh no, you didn't have to laugh that way. Wave a white flag, put away the pistol. Too many people just can't get kissed. But if there's nothing I can do to make amends, baby, hope you don't murder me. Gee, baby,
Hope you don't murder me.
And one of the differences between various companies in this country is that when CBS heard the tape, they sent a letter back to D.P. Costello saying, not bad, promising, come back in a year or so and we'll see what we can do. Stiff heard it and took him in the studio, and 3 weeks later Elvis had an album, and had a new name too, Elvis Costello. And, well, I don't have to tell you about the rest.